What's up, y'all? This is Jimmy coming to you guys with another video. Before we get into the video, as always, make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And when you guys hit subscribe, please make sure you guys are hitting that notification button. So getting right into the video, this is going to be something that is a little bit different than what you guys are used to. I actually did something a little common to this last year where I talked about kind of like my reflection for the previous year and then my goals for this upcoming year. So, I mean, just kind of reflecting back on 2021, like I'm gonna just really keep this informal, just really like I was talking to you guys, if I was talking to one of my homies, reflecting back on 2021, it almost gives me the chills just because I feel like it was such a big year for me in terms of like growth, really wanting to do what I want to do and just becoming a better person, like physically, mentally, and just really trying to challenge myself. Some of the things I did last year that I'm super proud of was, if you guys follow my visuals page, if you guys don't, make sure you guys do. Here's the handle. Essentially on there, I've been shooting like music videos for local artists. I've been covering a lot of events. I got to attend a lot of very cool events, got to meet a lot of cool people. And it's crazy because just looking back from the beginning of the year till the end of 2021, like I went into the year not really knowing how that Instagram page, how that whole thing was gonna work. It's something that I've always wanted to do. So going into it, I was very unsure, but I mean, nonetheless, looking back a whole year later, like it's just kind of insane to see like the growth and progress that you can make, when you really dedicate your time, really dedicate yourself to your craft, what you're wanting to do, what you intend your purpose to be, right? Because purpose is always kind of like subjective, just depending on what you think your purpose is. But, that's something that I've wanted to do since like high school, and it's just kind of fell off just because of priorities, school, a lot of life events, but finally giving myself the time and the space to make that a priority. It's absolutely insane and like heartwarming to see how much I've been able to grow last year, and definitely going to keep that same energy for this year. And like I'm going to talk about my actual goals for the year, but just kind of wanted to do a recap on last year. One of the things I did a lot last year too was really focusing on my mental health, like, and just trying to grow in that space. One of the things, or two of the things I did on a daily basis was, as typical as this sounds, and I feel like everyone says it, like I read 10 pages a day. I think every day, like I might have missed a couple days where I was like out of town, on the road, or just a little bit busy. I just didn't prioritize like reading, but I read 10 pages every day for the whole year, essentially. Whether that be, at least my goal is to at least finish one book a month. My thing is like 10 pages a day is about like 30 minutes of your time, and in my mind at least, I was like, if I don't have 30 minutes of my time to kind of like enhance my mind, like learn a little bit more about whatever I'm reading, then how am I going to have time to do what I really want to do, because at the end of it, all this that I'm doing is great, but if you're not elevating yourself or like growing your mind, I hate to use the word elevating yourself just because I feel like it sounds like so typical and cheesy, like kind of like those very motivational videos, and that's something that I'm not really, like I love sharing my story with you guys, but I never want to come off as like a preachy motivational person. But yeah, reading the 10 pages a day really helped. It just gave me a different perspective on a lot of the books that I've read. If you guys are interested in the books that I read, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but you guys can feel free to comment on this video or message me on Instagram on the side, and I'll share with you guys all the books that I read. And another thing that I did daily was just write for like 30 to 40 minutes, so basically an hour of reading and journaling. That really helped just because like it kind of gives you time to reflect on your day, reflect on how you felt, what you thought, you know, because I feel like so often we're like constantly go, 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 that you don't ever give yourself a chance to sit down and like, you know, just kind of think to yourself how you felt, how you were feeling in the moment, like what you could have done better. And really even just like, you know, if you had like a bad day or you didn't feel too good that day, I think just writing it out helps, because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for myself, I am a pretty introverted person, so sometimes there are times where I just don't really feel like talking, especially if it's not just like one of my good days. But you know, having the journal is pretty handy because in a sense it just allows you to kind of have always someone to talk to. Imagine like you have like a therapist to talk to, but that's something, that's another topic that maybe we can get into. But yeah, having a journal, reading, really trying to focus on what you want to do, and that really involves a lot of things, whether it's like finding the motivation, discipline, creating boundaries in your space to really have time to do what you want to do. There's a lot of that goes into that I won't go too into specific detail, but you know, just recapping last year, 2021 was definitely a roller coaster of a year. I'm not gonna say it was like my biggest year or anything like that, but yeah, looking back at the year, you know, it was definitely a really good year. Not to say that the whole year was like butterflies and rainbows and I was always on a super good mood, super happy mood, just because that's not human, right? Like, we're humans, we're gonna have our downs, we're gonna have our slumps. Like, you know, I'd be lying to you guys if there weren't weeks or periods of time when I just was not feeling it. But yeah, that was my year. I just kind of wanted to keep it real with you guys, keep it consistent, because, you know, although the main thing we talk about on this channel is the streetwear, sneakers, clothing, I do want to share a little bit of my life with you guys, just because, I mean, you guys have seen me grow, and I basically share content with you guys 2 to 3 times a week, if not more or less. But I mean, you guys are a pretty pivotal part of my life, so figure I share, you know, these little details with you guys, carry you guys along. And honestly, I feel like recording it and talking it out loud kind of helps you, you know, stay more accountable, right? Because now this is out in the air, you know, I don't know how many people are gonna watch this, maybe like 20, 30, 50 people at max, I guess. But you know, just talking about it, I feel like definitely helps you, keep you accountable. So now I'm gonna talk to you guys about my 2022 goals. So they aren't necessarily like resolutions or anything like that, and I feel like the goals themselves are a little bit vague. I do have some goals for the channel that I'll share with you guys that you guys might think is kind of crazy, and you guys are like, no way, just because, you know, based on the growth of the channel, what I'm wanting to do is like exponential, but we'll get to that. But starting with my goals, you know, I basically have it all written down. If you guys haven't yet, it's never too late, right? It's like the first, second weekend of the year, or even if you do it a month later, it's never too late to start. But I think it's always helpful to just write this out, because, you know, when you have all your thoughts kind of jammed in your head, like, it's just kind of hard to keep track of everything. And I feel like when you write it out, it's a little bit more clear. You can kind of create a plan, or not kind of, you can create a plan, especially if you choose to. And I feel like it just helps you be a little bit more accountable and stay on track. But my first set of goals, so I basically divided it up in subset categories. My first set of goals dealt with my physical health. So one, it dealt with counting macros and calories while still maintaining a healthy relationship with food. So before all this, before I was like back in college, like I would go crazy at the dining hall. I'm not gonna go too deep into this story, but you know, I really learned to how to like regulate, kind of control what I intake a little bit more, so it's a little bit more healthy. But doing that, have also realized, like, in a way, like I have built kind of like an unhealthy relationship with food, right? Just because you feel bad for eating, you know, 2 burgers or a couple of slices of pizza, right? But at the end of the day, I think you shouldn't necessarily feel guilty for eating that, right? It's just an understanding, having more awareness to like, okay, I ate this, you know, so I need to balance this, and so on. Right, life is all about balance, right? So just overdoing one thing, like just feeling too bad about one thing, in my opinion, isn't healthy. and not the type of relationship that I want to have with food. So I still definitely want to kind of maintain and restrict, not necessarily restrict, but just be more aware of what I'm intaking while not feeling guilty about eating it, right? Like, I think that's the main thing for me, because food is food, right? And you shouldn't feel guilty about eating whatever you're eating, right? Like, I mean, you should just be eating it to enjoy it, because at the end of the day, that's what food is for. And next in the physical health is going to the gym every day. So that's something that I was able to do pretty consistently last year in 2021, especially going in the morning. You know, like, not everyone is a morning gym person, but I myself, I found that that's when I can be most in the zone. It just helps me start my day. But you know, just going for an hour and a half a day, just working out, getting a good workout in. If you guys want to know what I work out or what my split is, message me on Instagram. I can share that with you guys. And then maybe we can go through this fitness journey together. But I definitely think taking care of your physical health is super important, just because, I mean, if you work on your body, you know, like, I feel like you just have more endorphins, like, you feel better throughout the day, like, you have more energy. And I feel like it really helps with my productivity, especially when I work out. Like, I've noticed the days where I don't work out, I just feel like I'm in a slump, very sluggish, and just not really super motivated to do things. And right, I know I said 7 days a week, but really, like, most people can do like 4 to 5, even 3, you know, just starting off by 2-3 times a week, and then you bump it up if you'd like. I think, you know, you always got to start somewhere. So 2-3 times a week, I think just getting to the gym, that's like one of my main goals, just to keep that consistent, right? Because that's something that I've been doing. I've noticed how good it has been for my, not only for my physical, but also my mental health. It's a great outlet for me, just to kind of relieve some stress, or, you know, what's ever going in my mind, not worry about that when I get to the gym, just focus on my workout. The next category I have is mental health. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I've been really taking on mental health, just trying to become more aware of my emotions, how I'm feeling, what I'm doing in regards to my emotions. One of the things that I think really helped was reading. So like I mentioned, I'm gonna stay consistent with the reading, with the journaling, and then also, you know, this is kind of something that a lot of people don't talk about, but going to therapy pretty often. You know, like this is such like a random wild ballpark. Like, you guys are so used to hearing me talk about like sneaker reviews, fashion, clothes, like, how does this jacket fit, you know, what's the size of that Carhartt jacket, but you know, this is the stuff we never really talk about. And I felt honestly a little awkward talking to you guys, right? But that's not the narrative we should be having about mental health, because at the end of the day, everyone is going through something, and it doesn't help if we're like feeling awkward about it, you know, scared to talk about our emotions and things like that. So that is what I want to focus on this year, in just promoting my mental health. You know, whether you guys want to follow along, do some of the same things I do, but you know, that is my goal for this year, is to focus on my mental health by doing those things I had mentioned. So we talked about physical health, mental health. The next thing we'll talk about is my professional goals. So when I say professional goals, I do have like your typical 9-to-5 desk job, but also, you know, I've come to realize, like, this right here, me talking to you guys, my visuals page, all the different clients that I work with, I actually consider that my profession too. Like, back then I used to say it was just like, oh, a little side gig, a little hobby I used to do, but I felt like the more I was saying it was just like a side gig, or like, you know, just something small on the side, I treated it like that, right? Like, I didn't take it seriously just because of my demeanor towards it, you know, just the energy I was bringing towards it. But once I realized, I'm like, okay, you know, this isn't my day job, this is just my nighttime job, right? Like, yeah, like, some people might think, dude, this is just a hobby, or, you know, this is just something you do for fun, and they're entitled to their own opinion at the end of the day. But I myself, I'm not going to view it as that. But this right here, me talking to you guys, this is my current profession that doesn't necessarily bring me as much income as my day job, but it is something that I still hold very near and dear to my heart, and something that, you know, this isn't like a walk in the park, right? Like, this is a setup every day. This is a job in itself to create content, to do what all these YouTubers, what all these people that call themselves content creators are doing. You know, it's not like you're just hopping up on Instagram, hopping off on YouTube, you know, meeting these different clients and that's it. You know, like at the end of the day, like some people still consider this their day job if they do. I won't go too much into detail on this yet. You know, like I think as I progress this year and move further in my path, I'll start to bring you guys along the journey. But I would love to eventually, you know, have this right here, me talking to you guys, the visuals page, having all my client work, eventually become the day job and the nighttime job, if you guys get what I'm saying. I'm putting that out there and I'm really not afraid. Like, it is what it is. Like, I feel like back then, like I would be very hesitant to say something like that, but I think now I've just gotten to the point where you just have to embrace what you want to do. And you know, I just feel like I've been through a couple life events in my life where it's just like there's no point in like trying to hide how you're feeling or what you're wanting to do, because life is short at the end of the day. You know, like if you guys know me personally and know what I've been through, like, I mean, I could go on a whole spiel about what I've been through, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it short and just kind of keep the video on track to not go too off topic. But yeah, so that's one of my goals for this year actually. And then specifically with the YouTube channel, this is gonna sound absolutely crazy talking to you guys, but I would love to grow the channel to 100,000 subscribers, right? Maybe realistically, people might say, dude, try 10K, because right now I'm like at 6K or something like that, or 50K even. But hey, you know, like maybe you just gotta set the goal so high that, you know, it helps me be more creative with my videos, help me brainstorm a little bit more, because when my goal was just to become monetized, right, it was just really about learning to be consistent on YouTube, which I was able to do last year. You know, like upload twice a week for at least 85% of the year, I want to say. Near the end, I definitely fell off on that and wasn't as on track, but I'm putting it out there. I would love the channel, or not, I don't want to say just love. My plan for 2022 is to have the channel grow to 100K subscribers. Not exactly 100% sure how we're gonna do that. One of the things that I did realize I need to start doing with my videos and with the channel is really like kind of convening at the end of the month, like going like, okay, hey, these videos only got 100 views. You know, that's not gonna help me grow by any means. Looking back last year, I had a couple videos that popped off and did really well. I need to look at the content I'm making and then just reanalyze like, okay, what's working and what's not. And then, you know, just kind of being more aware of what I'm putting out there, right? Like, if you guys notice with the reviews, I'm trying to make sure I do on feet detailed close-up looks as opposed to last year. You know, to be honest, at the end of it, when I was doing the reviews, I was just recording for the sake of being consistent, right? Like I wasn't putting my full purpose, like my full intent out there to make good videos for you guys, good reviews for you guys. So I definitely want to change that this year. You know, I know we're so early in and people are like, dude, you're gonna lose motivation a couple months in or whatever, but I'm putting it out there. So that is my goal for this channel for 2022. And as for my visual page, that is also a big thing of what I do. And you know, I feel like a lot of my YouTube is kind of like disconnected from my visuals page, just because I do kind of keep them separate. But just to fill you guys in on that, I would love to do like 1 to 2 music videos a month, be on like 2 production sets a month. You know, this is me still working a 9 to 5, so there's a lot keeping me busy right there, because I do a lot of like the recording, the editing, just the whole process of the video. And lastly, my last subset category for my goals for 2022, and like I said, my goals aren't necessarily like your very typical goals, I would say, like, right, like I'm not trying to run a marathon, you know, at the end of the year. I'm not trying to, I don't know, like it's not very like quantified goals. It's kind of like subjective, not subjective, but it's very broad, I want to say, you know, just because you could do a couple things and it's like, how do you know you've really reached those goals? So I wouldn't necessarily say like they're all like goals, but just things that I do want to do this year and just continue to improve on, just because for me, a lot of the things that I mentioned are things that are going to be like continuing on forever, right? It's not something that's just going to be like, okay, like I finished it by October, now I'm good, like I'm accomplished, I finished that. But my last category of goals for this year is just dealing with relationships, whether that be my friends, my family, my loved ones, just everyone that plays a pivotal role in my life, just kind of providing comfort, support for me. And people might think like, what do you mean relationships is one of your goals? But I think by default, everyone is a human, right? So everyone is going to have relationships naturally with their friends, their families, their loved ones, their significant others. But I think sometimes we fail to remember, like with these relationships, you do have to put in a lot of work for them, right? Like, with me doing this YouTube stuff, the visual content, like, I can't tell you guys, like, the end of last year, November, December, like, I wasn't back home in Dallas for like a month and a half. So my schedule is really all over the place just because I'm always out and about, going different places. So with that in mind, like, right, like, it's good to realize, like, yeah, like, you're always gonna have these people in your life, right? But just because they're always in your life doesn't mean that you take it for granted. Like, you still have to work on those relationships, like making sure you give everyone their type of love. And when I say type of love, like, I mean like everyone has a different love language. I feel like I'm going into way too deep detail. But essentially, like, some people enjoy quality time, some people enjoy more like affection, some people just really care if you like text them once or twice a day or once a week. Everyone has different love styles, so it's good to kind of be more aware of that as well. But my goal for this year is building my relationships, not even just maintaining, right, but just building my relationships with my loved ones, that, like I mentioned, care and support me and really keep me afloat, just because, without your people, by yourself, you're not really much, to be quite honest. So building your relationships is definitely one of them. And this one honestly might kind of tie into mental health, but also really learning to set boundaries for yourself, because I feel like a lot of us in today's society or today's world, and I'm saying this because I struggle with this immensely, is setting boundaries for yourself. I think so often, like we get into this habit of wanting to please people, wanting to become a yes man, that you forget like how important it is to prioritize yourself, right? And that's something that I fell into a rabbit hole of doing. I didn't have proper boundaries for myself, and that that's definitely a work in progress. Something I was able to become more aware of last year. Always wanting to work on that, just because I know I'm not ever going to be perfect in that category. Just because at the end of the day, like, at least for myself, I am a people pleaser. That's just kind of like one of my natural character traits. But with that being said, just because that is one of my character traits, doesn't mean I don't want to work on these boundaries, because to me, setting boundaries for yourself is how you really allow yourself to grow, right? And I'm saying that like based on like last year, I was able to set some boundaries, like kind of do my own thing and like find my own space. And I think that really was pivotal in like helping me find my own way. But that was a lot of talking to you guys. I was really gonna make this video kind of short and simple, but I feel like I started going off on different tangents. If you guys made it to the very end of the video, I'm surprised you guys actually sat through all that to hear me talk about my random goals. I talked about some kind of deep stuff that a lot of you guys might not be used to. But just gonna put it all out there. This is a platform, my platform, that I use, that I've been sharing my life with you guys for so long. Like, I don't see what's the point in hiding like these little details. Like, you guys are basically aware of my life. Like, you guys can follow me on Instagram, know exactly what I'm doing for the most part. Follow me on here. But wanted to give you guys a little bit deeper look into my thought process and my mind coming into this new year. But let me know down below in the comments, what are your goals for this year? You know, if they're private, if they're too secretive, you don't want to tell them, you don't have to. But you know, let me know down below, like if you have any resolutions, anything you want to change for the new year. So that was a good chunk of me talking. It's gonna wrap up the video. I hope you guys took something away from this. If you guys want to DM me privately to talk about your goals or whatever you might be going through, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I'm always open to talk to you guys, because like I said, you guys aren't just like my supporters, like you guys are like literally the homies. So make sure, you know, my DMs are always open. But that's gonna wrap up the video, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.